This is no barcodes. Remember, when we're talking about a slide, sometimes everything there may not be like, I want to see what is at 7. Is this the one? No, that's what I'm saying. If you have a slide and it doesn't mean that if, for example, you're talking about tailors, it doesn't mean that everything here is tailors. You could be having one or two. For example, once we talk about the condensing here, you remember that I said that, for example, if you look at this particular sperm here, it is not a condensing cell, because in the condensing cell, the DNA, and for that matter, the nuclear chromatin has spread all over the entire head, and therefore they pick up the stain. You know how a nuclear staining look like. And so you realize that, yes, in these ones, we have decondensing. But even for this one, it cannot be entirely decondensing because the end here doesn't look like a nuclear stained. And similarly, this one too. But majority of them here are decondensing. Similarly, when you look at this one here, this one here are all tailless. This one is also tailless. This one could be something else on the slide. And this is not a sperm. I don't know whether it is one you are confused about. This is not a sperm. This could be something else on the slide. You're talking about this head, which do not seem to have a tail. Right. I think it's good that we are back to this slide. There is a terminology here, acoudate. Remember that A means absence. A cauda means tail. Remember, if you look at the sections on epididymis, you have the caput as the head, we have the corpus as the body, and then we have the cauda as the tail. You understand? So caudal or caudated or caudate is tail. So a caudate means absence of a tail. So tailless sperm are called acoudate sperm. I think I didn't talk about this one. So it's good that we are here after all. I hope the point is clear there. Good. And then the nucleated head. And then the double head. Okay, thank you too for understanding. So double, of course, double means bicephalic. So bi means two, bicycle, two, cephalic head. So double head is the same as bicephalic or duplicate sperm. Duplicate here, you're talking about duplicate head. So the same thing depends on. So we just want to appreciate that you can meet different terminologies which will mean the same thing. So double head, bicephalic or duplicate sperm, they mean the same. When two heads are present on a single, what do you call it, sperm? All right, good. The condition is indicative of a severe functional abnormality and is linked to exposure to toxic chemicals, heavy metals, like cesium, smoke, and blah, blah, blah. So when we have double-headed or bicephalic or duplicate sperm, all right, what it means that we know that the head, the sperm is automatically supposed to move. So if you have bicephalic, two heads, then one will move this way, so it means that there's going to be impaired movement. And as we do semen analysis, you see the role of motility. So the sperm is going to move as the head will direct it. And if the head is two, then they could have a compromised movement. All right. So that is the head effect. Then you come to the neck. The neck or midpiece. of the sperm can exhibit abnormalities such as asymmetrical insection of the midpiece into the head. Remember, we said that the axis, the major axis of the head should also fit into the major axis of the neck so that they will align. When they align, they become symmetrical. I'm sure you know symmetrical. When you say something symmetrical, it means that one half is the same time as the other half. When it's asymmetrical, so A means absence, symmetry. So A means, so when it is positioned in such a way that one half looks heavier than the other, then that is asymmetrical. All right. So if the neck is not positioned properly, then instead of the head and neck aligning to becoming symmetrical, there is a absence of symmetry. And you see that the whole thing is like the head is tilted towards one side. Then we have one which is bent, completely bent. All right. So once it is completely bent, remember we use this word kinked. Remember, I was giving you an example of kinky as in opposed to streptococci and then onchocercus. That if you look at the curvatures in onchocercus, it is sinusoidal, it is flexibly curved. And then the one of the streptococci is like it's coming here, and then all of a sudden it will bend sharp, and then gives you that kind of, we call it kinky. So when it says something is kinked, it's like there's a sharp bend. There's a sharp bend. And I remember I gave you the example once I said I've been told, I don't know how correct is it, that if a snake is chasing you and then you are just going around like this one, I mean, that is how snakes move. They move in that kind of curves, and so it means that you are playing into its game. But if you are going, let's say, upstream, all of a sudden you turn 90 degrees or 180 degrees the other way around, it will also try to turn that way. And if it turns that way, I'm told, this one, I don't go and try it. I'm told that once it gives that emergency turn, it will break. And then the snake might die. All right. So if you have a tail, for that matter, the neck to the head, if it is bent that sharp, then it is supposed to be kinked. And then, like we said, it's bent. So once it's bent, it means that it cannot move forward. All right. So that's it. And then a neck that is too thick. Remember, we said that the neck should be smaller than the head. All right. So if you have the neck too thick, as big as the head, then that's also a problem. A neck that is too thin, of course, it should not be too thick. It's as if you are preparing stew wet mount. If you are preparing any wet mount that you are preparing, and I want to use the example of a stew, it should not be too thick. It should not be too thin. All right. Any wet mount that you prepare should not be too thick, not too. If it's too thick, you obscure a lot of the material that you have to see. If it's too thin, you are likely to miss out a lot of the material that you have to see. All right. So you have to know the difference. So if the neck is too thick, it's a problem. If it's too thin, it's also a problem. All right. Good. An irregularly shaped neck, of course. If it's irregularly shaped, it's also a problem. It's also distended. If it's distended, we also call large swollen midpiece. It could be due to excess residual cytoplasm. Remember, we talked about the cytoplasmic droplet. We said it's normal around the neck. But if this cytoplasmic droplet is now larger than normal, then it's no longer cytoplasmic droplets, rather excess residual cytoplasm. All right, that's abnormal. All right. As you move along, you realize that why is it abnormal? Remember that we said that the at the spermiogenesis stage, we expect the unused organelles within the cytoplasm to be extruded. You remember the cytoplasmic extrusion. Be extruded so that the cytosol cell will mop up. Sometimes you don't get it completely extruded, so it gets a small amount, which is acceptable. But if it is larger, then it becomes, as you know, excess. And this excess is likely to contain a lot of the ROS, reactive oxygen species. And remember, we said that reactive oxygen species cause a lot of danger to the cell that is in question. All right. So excess residual cytoplasm is a larger portion of the cytoplasmic droplets, and they are pathological. They are not normal. All right. Then amorphous. Remember, we talked about amorphous head. You can also have the amorphous neck. The neck should also be smooth. If anything which makes it rough is also an amorphous. And so sometimes describe as debris around the neck, because instead of the thing being smooth, if it's becoming rough, then people describe it as if there's some debris around the neck. So if you say debris, I say in the amorphous head. And then bifurcated midpiece. The midpiece are divided into two. That is a true abnormality. All right. Then we have an example of a large swollen midpiece. And then remember we said that the midpiece is obtained from the mitochondria. And all of us know that mitochondria in the normal cell is responsible for what? ATP, energy production. And so you realize that one of the things that we expect the sperm to be able to do is to move. Movement will have to, it's energy based. All right, so it is the mitochondria, which is the neck region, which is supposed to provide the energy for the flagella to move, so that it will propel the organism to move forward. So if there is a problem with the midpiece, all right, or a defective, they think that you have a defective mitochondria. It's raining widely. I don't know whether it is disturbing my distance. Raining heavily. Please, if it is disturbing my delivery, you can draw my attention, and then we can continue tomorrow. If it's not, we can move on. So we have large swollen midpiece, which is likely also caused by excess residual cytoplasm or cause defective mitochondria. And that will mean that the motility of the sperm is going to be compromised. And as we do semen analysis, motility sometimes is also even more important than even because it describes the quality of the specimen. All right. So because of it describes the quality of the sperm to the extent that if the sperm has everything and it cannot move, what can it do? It cannot reach its site, its target for fertilization. All right. So that is what it is. So anything that will compromise the mitochondria. Sorry. It's really wildly here. Sorry. So anything that will cause a defect in the mitochondria will also appear as a defect in the neck area, and automatically is going to affect the motility of the sperm. All right. Then either now we are going to the tail defects. Tail defect. So common sperm tail defects include coiled, of course. You don't expect it to coil. Either coiled or curled is the same thing. And stump is like short. So if you say stump tail or short tail, is the same thing. Of course, it could be also double or split or duplicate. Any of them is also acceptable. And then, of course, irregular thickness. And then hairpin, bent, kinked, or angular is the same thing. So tailless, absent, tail is absent. So now I get you. So if it's tailless, it's going to be hard. So head, you have the headless and then tailless. So which is which? Headless, it could be a tail without a head. Is that not it? Is that headless? You only have the what do you call it, like a string without a head, and that we said it is a variation of the pinhead. Tailless, there's no tail at all. So it means that you can also be the same a head without a tail. So that is it. So it means that it can tailless can be either a head defect or a tail defect. This is how I think it looks like. And then tails with terminal CD. Remember we said that CD, which is a cytoplasmic droplet, is normal if it is found at the neck region. In some situations, the CD is found at the end of the tail. We call it terminal cytoplasmic droplet. And that is an abnormality. All right. Co-joined tails or conjoined sperm. Co-joined, I'm sure all of us may have heard about twins, where sometimes there's an abnormality of conjoined or co-joined twins, where they could be joined either the head to head or chest to chest or abdomen to abdomen. It's like joint of a sort. It's very common to have tails joining together, and that is also a huge abnormality, just as we have the head. If the head is double, then you don't know which way to go. The same way, if the tails are joined together, that could also be a problem with the movement. All right, so these are some pictorial examples of the morphological abnormalities of the tail. All right. So the coiled or curled sperm may be seen. Okay, may be seen in seminal fluids that have been exposed to either incorrect conditions or the presence of bacteria. So sometimes these are not conditions that may be coming from the patient. For example, if the semen has been collected into a container that's contaminated and there's bacteria in there, it could cause a coiling of the sperms. So these are some things that this sperm cannot swim as tails are damaged. Heavy smoking has been linked to the presence of coiled tail sperms. And you remember that as you move along, if you are going to do semen analysis, we talk about some preparation of the patient. We include that the patient should stop smoking if he does smoke. Because all these things, we want to rule out the tendency or the potential for some of these external contaminants to affect the quality of the sperms. So smoking has been identified as a factor that could cause coiling of the sperm tail. And so that is for our information. Stump or short tail sperm are also called dysplasia of fibrous sheath sperm. This is just for academic exercise, but normally just talk about the stump tail or the short tail, and that's okay. The condition is an autosomal recessive genetic disease. So whenever it becomes genetic disease, it means that it can be passed on to a male offspring. That is all that it is. All right. So these are all some common pictures, and we are And I'm sure that with what you have done, I'm sure if you look at the pictures, you'll be able to know which one is which. All right. So these are some few pictures for abnormal disease. These are all, the rest are pictures. So for you to look at them. And so that brings us to the end of the abnormal sperm morphologies. Once you are conversant with some of these things, if you do the semen analysis, you shouldn't have a problem. This is a typical, let me show. This is a typical terminal CD. All right. This is a tail with a cytoplasmic droplet at the end of the tail. This terminal droplet or terminal CD. And that makes it abnormal. Okay. Of course, this is duplicate, a broken or bent or kinked, hairpin, short, coiled. These are our pictorial forms, but I'm sure this cytoplasmic droplet, this is not abnormal in it. But if the cytoplasmic droplet becomes larger than expected, then it becomes excess cytoplasmic residual. Okay, excess. Then that's no longer cytoplasmic droplet. So thank you for your time. It's been short, but just to end the spermatogenesis lecture. And tomorrow, God willing, we're going to start the almighty semen analysis. Right. It's been raining wild here for the last 20 to 30 minutes. Any question, please? Otherwise, you call it a day. See you tomorrow. This session or this slide has already been posted on the platform, on your learning platform already. I'm sure you have it.
Okay, good evening.
Thank you, Danny.
Hello, sir.
All right. So, good night and see you tomorrow. God willing. Tell your friends, if they are waiting for semen analysis, then they should get ready. Tomorrow is the D-Day.
Hello, sir.
All right. Let me see if I can get through to some few of my friends around. Anyway, all of you are my friends, but of course, if I see my friends, my lady friends, Vera there for you. Vera.
Yes, Grandpa.
And where is my daughter? Hannah. Is Hannah there? Hannah didn't come today. Hannah is not here today. Okay. But Vera is there. All right. But today I didn't hear, I didn't get a lot from you. Why? Hey, Boss Mensah. Occasionally you have to let me hear from you. All right. Okay. So it's been lovely meeting all of you. The podcast session, you have it. We are finishing with the theory. Hopefully next week we finish with all the theory. And then we see what we do. The practicals, you have it. I'll manage to come to Accra by all means, for the sake of some of you who want to see me. I'll come to Accra and at least we have one physical practical session. Of course, that practical session will also be Zoom, will also be on YouTube or Zoom or whatever it is. But we'll try and have a physical one. Those who are Who you also watch online, you can watch as much as possible. If you should sacrifice one day to come and meet your grandpa, why not? You advertise the date anyway, so you'll not be taking on hours. All right. Thank you. Any question, any information from me? Danny, are you jealous about my lady friends? Hey, I thought you even support your grandpa to have some. All right. Okay. That's good. See you tomorrow. Eh? Good night. Bye bye.